Hello and warm welcome to join us for this edition of AN in English News, and I'm Abdul Ahad Mohammadi. Pakistan and Afghanistan have decided to revive a bilateral mechanism initiated last year to work out strategies for holding negotiations with the Taliban, officials said. A senior Pakistani official said that in recent weeks, the two countries have covered ground to overcome their differences, enabling the revival of the Joint Peace Commission headed by President Hamid Karzai and Prime Minister Yusuf Raza Gilani. The meeting of the commission is expected to take place by the end of January. It comes just days after the Taliban announced to open a political office in Qatar to hold direct talks with the United States. 20 armed insurgents have been detained in a series of military operations in some part of the country over the past 24 hours, the Interior Ministry said on Saturday. During the past 24 hours, Afghan National Police, Army and NATO-led coalition forces launched 5 joint operations in Kandahar, Uruzgan, Helmand and Khost provinces, detaining 20 armed insurgents, the ministry said in a press release. The joint security forces also discovered and confiscated guns, hashish, along with a vehicle, it added. The Taliban have yet to comment on the issue. Critics of a possible transfer of Taliban prisoners are discussing tactics to block it, even before the White House appears to have made a final decision on its bid to broker an Afghan peace deal. Administration officials have, under strict conditions of secrecy, briefed senior lawmakers dealing with military, foreign policy and intelligence issues about the proposal that would move 5 senior Taliban detainees at Guantanamo Bay to Afghan government custody. But the White House has not yet initiated the formal 30-day congressional notification process required by a new U.S. law, officials on the Capitol Hill said. At least 15 people, including civilians and policemen, have been killed in an explosion in southern Uruzgan province on Friday, officials said. The incident happened when a bomb planted in a garbage bin exploded in Trinkot City, the provincial capital of the province. Among the dead were 6 children, 5 soldiers, 3 policemen and a civilian, and 4 other children who were playing nearby were wounded, said the police spokesman Farid Ayal. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack. President Karzai also has condemned the attack in a statement. Syria's top opposition leader Burhan Gholayuni has said the regime of President Assad has yet to implement the Arab League agreement and that it has lost political, economic and military abilities to sustain itself. His comment came after a bomb exploded in the Syrian capital Damascus, killing 26 people and injured more than 60 others. Syrian Interior Ministry said the explosion was an escalation of terrorism and vowed the government would respond with an iron fist to any security threat. But the opposition described the explosion as a government plot. Western powers this week radiated a contingency plan to tap a record volume from emergency stockpiles to replace nearly all the Gulf oil that would be lost if Iran blocks the Strait of Hormuz, industry sources and diplomats told Reuters. They say senior executive of the International Energy Agency discussed on Thursday an existing plan to release up to 14 million barrels per day of government-owned oil stored in the United States, Europe, Japan, and other importers. The action on this scale would be the biggest release in the agency's history. Gunmen have killed at least 20 people in fresh attacks in the northwestern Nigerian province of Adamawa in continuing sectarian violence, police and witnesses said. At least 8 people were killed when gunmen opened fire on worshippers in a church in Yola, the capital of the province. On Friday, hospital sources said. Adamawa saw another attack earlier in the day when at least another 12 were killed after armed men opened fire at a town hall in the town of Mobi near Nigeria's border with Cameroon. Boko Haram, an extremist group, is blamed for the attacks. The U.S. unemployment rate has dropped to a 3-year low, which some economists say may be one of the strongest signs yet that the country's recession-hit economy is improving. The jobless rate was at 8.5% at the end of 2011, which means an extra 200,000 jobs were created during December, the U.S. Labor Department said in a report on Friday. As the debt crisis in Europe looks far from being resolved and tensions over Iran threatening to drive up oil prices, the U.S. economy faces stiff challenges ahead. And that's all for now. Thanks for being with us.